Her album is called Loose Cannon. I have Olivia Ellen Lloyd on the show with me today. Olivia, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I wanted to interview you about a year ago. When the album first came out, that would make sense. But I wound up coming down with COVID-19. This was, literally I tested positive the weekend before my vaccination was supposed to occur.
Jeez.
It was a little rough. I was not able to do things like breathe without an oxygen tank, let alone record a radio show. So I decided, maybe I should try this now that it's January, that there are no albums coming out really for a couple weeks between the holidays and whatnot. And, I had time to catch up on things. How have your adventures with COVID been?
Oh, just an ongoing series of booking shows and canceling shows and booking shows and canceling shows. To some extent, I'm really grateful for it because all the work that I do that's not music has now moved remote. So I have a lot more energy to tour and play out at night because I'm not sitting at some cubicle all day paying my rent. Other than that, it's been terrible. That's like the one silver lining that I can sort of parse out of it. But I, of course, released the record in the middle of a pandemic, which was an interesting choice.
I'm guessing not the best for the bottom line.
Actually, I was surprised. I mean, you do make a good deal of money touring, and I've only been able to do one major tour so far. Although, New York has such a large everything scene that I've played pretty consistently in the city. But I've been really lucky to find some people who really support my music and have, bought CDs and bought merch and streamed the music. So while you never make that much money as an independent musician, I'm really proud for a debut album that I have more or less broken even on the investment I put into it, which is, all you can hope for.
The first song we just heard is called River Run, getting into the album itself. Olivia, do you have trouble owning up to the bad things you've done?
Not remotely.
I got that feeling that you'd be pretty honest about things.
I find that if I'm not being honest, the songwriting doesn't really come. And so also I'm just a bad liar because I have a very expressive face, so might as well just cards on the table at all times.
In this song, you are going from the perspective of someone who maybe doesn't have the easiest time letting go of a huge, terrible secret.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it.
So you've never had that crushing weight of a secret on your chest before?
I mean, I think it's a pretty universal feeling. I don't hold on to them for very long. I think typically whatever I'm feeling comes to the surface, which is, I think, certainly at least a bit what this song is about.
You have a line in there that I thought was just golden, and it prompted a really deep question that I want you to take seriously, no matter how unserious it sounds. You say, "I can't break your heart this early in the morning." So when is the best time to break someone's heart? What best time of day?
I mean, I think the truth is there's never really a good time. When we're having difficult conversations, there's always a good reason to put it off. And in this particular scene that I've written, it's just, it's right at dawn. So that's a really great, you haven't even had a cup of coffee. So I guess, no time is good, but any time after we've been sufficiently caffeinated is probably a bit better. And before you've had a drink.
All right. That's a good enough window of, so basically the work day.
Yeah. Right in the middle of the workday. Gives everybody a chance to take a long lunch, maybe take a day off. sort of a free vacation.
The next song I want to talk to you about is the title track, Loose Cannon. Is this essentially what growing up is like? Not drinking quite as hard and seeing the world as a little bit smaller?
I mean, I think yes and no. I wrote the song at a specific time in my life when I decided to make my world very small. And I did that because I thought that was the right way to be happy, was to choose your lane and stay in it and find somebody and settle down and, you know, take a job you don't like but pays the bills. And I think I think the thing that a lot of people have sort of caught from the song is a more maybe easy to access idea of like, you're a little bit wild when you're younger, and then you can, you know, you miss the freedom of being so unaware of the consequences of your actions. But I was also writing the song from a point of view of like, we do all of these things to create an ordered life, and maybe in the hopes of that life being easier. And once we get all of that stuff, the uncertainty and adventure and risk, we can really miss those things because they're also part of what makes life good. But I think there are a lot of different ways to interpret the songs, and I think when I was writing it, I felt a lot of different opposing emotions, which is why it's so broad.
What wound up happening to your plan to make your world smaller and settle down?
Yeah, I kind of blew it up. It just didn't work out. Nobody's fault really, but I always knew I wanted to be a musician, and I always knew I wanted to have a more unconventional life, and I really tried to fit those ambitions into a much more conventional setup, and it just, you know, it didn't fit. Square peg, round hole. But I think everybody's in the end gotten what they need. So, you know, as always, if you just keep fighting toward the thing you really want, the thing you know you're supposed to be doing, it always works out.
Loose Cannon. Let's hear the title track, and we will be back.